Well, now, with us in the studio are the leader of the SNP and First Minister in Scotland, Alex Salmond, and we're also joined by the Labour Minister of the Scottish office, David Cairns, but Alex Salmond's a bit too grand to discuss, so we'll talk to Mr Cairns first. Why is it taking you... It's true, you won't discuss with him, you are too grand. Why is it taking you so long to choose a candidate?
Well, I'm not going to pretend this was a cunning plan that we had.
No, clearly, we wanted
a candidate on Friday night, but at the very last moment, one of the major contenders decided that he didn't want to put his family through the rigours of the by-election campaign and the rigours of frontline politics. Now, you've got to respect that. So we reconvened this evening, which is what the party members wanted to do. And we've got an excellent candidate. Margaret Curran won't be very well known, I think, to viewers in England, but she's very well known to viewers in Scotland. She's got a terrific record, both as a local...
But she was, in fact, the third choice, wasn't she?
No, she was the first choice. She was the only...
Oh, the first choice?
She was the first choice of the local members at the
Why did Mr
meeting.
Ryan, then, pull out, if he wasn't the first choice?
Well, I'm not going to get into the personal details of the conversation he had with his family. Mr Bissell was never wanted to stand.
Is it not true that Gordon Brown did try to get him to stand?
No, it's absolutely...
So that's all made up, is it?
Absolutely. I'm afraid to say it was in the newspapers. That doesn't make it true.
OK, well, perhaps you can help us, as you're so well acquainted with what Mr Brown does, by... You can tell us whether Mr Brown will be going up to campaign in this by-election for a change.
No, he won't be going to campaign. I think only once in the last 30 years a Prime Minister has gone to fight in a by-election, and we're not expecting him there. We're going to be fighting a by-election very much based on the issues facing the people in the East End. Margaret Curran is a representative in that area. No, he won't be.
Despite the fact that if he does badly...
Done at all in 30 years apart from one occasion.
It's the end of his Prime Ministership if he does badly,
I don't accept that. We're fighting very hard to win this seat. This is a seat... not about the future of any particular politician, it's about the future of the folk who live in the East End of Glasgow. And it's about getting the right policies for the East End of Glasgow, getting the right champion, the right representatives for the East End of Glasgow. It's an area which has seen remarkable transformation, but as your film showed, there's a long way to go, there's a huge task ahead, and we need the right policies and the right champions.
Michael Crick wanders into a shop, finds a bloke who's a member of the Labour Party who wants you to lose.
Well... honestly, I mean, I'm not particularly clear where that particular gentleman was coming from on some of the that he mentioned.
He was a member of the Labour Party who wants you to lose.
Well, I disagree with him. I disagree with him.
What a surprise.
Well, it is a surprise. Well, what did you expect me to say when you asked me that question? I think you'll see right across the East End of Glasgow, an area that has had a remarkable renaissance. 9 new primary schools, Jeremy built. Excellent results being achieved in the new secondary schools that are there. Big reduction in unemployment, big reduction in incapacity benefit, the prospect of the Commonwealth Games coming. Now, what we must do is build on that success and get the right policies with the right champion to bring that forward.
Now, your candidate is an MSP, Ms Curran. Will she give up her job as an MSP if she is elected?
She will at one point, not in the immediate future. She's got to discuss this with our local
Why are you attacking Alex
members.
Salmond, then, for having more than one job?
Well, I'm not attacking Alex Salmond for having
your
more than one
party
job.
has.
Well,
campaigned on issues about vole habitat.
Well, he is the First Minister. Actually, and that in itself is a full-time job.
I bet you wish you were taking part in discussion now, don't you?
He'll put his own in due course. Don't worry, we're used to that. Overlap in his constituencies. Margaret's constituency for the Scottish Parliament is entirely contained within Glasgow. So she's representing exactly the same people. She'll draw one salary, she'll have one office. Actually, in this days where people are concerned about the cost of our representation, this will actually cost the taxpayers less
Is she
money.
in favour of an early referendum on independence?
No, I don't think that she is. There's nobody actually pushing for an early referendum on independence in Westminster. Alex put it on the agenda for the Scottish Parliament, but at a time and a place and a manner of his choosing. He won't actually say exactly what he's going to do and when he's going to bring it forward. Now, that's his choice, but that's an argument that's taking place in the Scottish Parliament, not at Westminster.
Alex Salmond, the difficulty for you, I suppose, is that you're campaigning in this by-election as if you're the party, as you have been for a long time, of opposition. And in fact...
Well, if this by-election comes down to a choice between the track record of the SNP government in Scotland or the Labour government in London, then the SNP will win the election because the SNP government are popular and the Labour government, as we've just seen from one of their members in the constituency, are dramatically unpopular.
Well, that's
you're expected to believe that Margaret Curran would have some sort of...
Has indeed. Your own party has changed its mind on, for example, student loans.
But not the same person simultaneously if she was in Westminster or the Scottish Parliament. So I think we should avoid Margaret having that dilemma and leave her in the Scottish Parliament so she can only have one policy at a time.
Well, there you go again. You see, you're campaigning as if you're an opposition, and in fact you're a government there, and you made promises to become a government, and you haven't kept them.
Oh, on the contrary, the reason
you haven't kept your promises on primary school sizes,
you
you haven't kept your promises on student loans, you haven't haven't even kept your promises on something like education in schools, have you?
Well, we've frozen the council tax, we've taken the tolls off the bridges, we've got prescription charges being
those
phased
are different
out.
issues.
But they are promises and commitments that the SNP government have 1 year in office, and you have a 4-year term when you're elected to the Scottish Parliament. We're working through our manifesto, but Jeremy,
they will all be accomplished.
There must be a reason.
You can give us.
There must be a reason
you're the head
why.
honcho. You can give us a promise.
Are
they going to be accomplished in this 4-year term or not?
We're working through our manifesto for the 4-year term, but there must be a reason.
Give me a yes or no.
We're looking to implement our manifesto across the 4-year term.
You're looking to implement it.
Obviously
That's not saying we will.
Yeah, and we have worked through 140 of our promises to date, which I reckon is about 3 a week, Jeremy, which is why, of course...
We are going to honour all our promises.
And you'll accept that the SNP government is dramatically popular in Scotland and the Labour government at Westminster is dramatically unpopular.
This is totally irrelevant to my question. My question is, are you going to honour these promises?
We're working through our manifesto, Jeremy.
Why didn't you just say yes?
We've implemented 140. We're going to seek to implement the rest.
Why didn't you just say yes?
Well, that's what we're trying to do, Jeremy. We're working through our manifesto in a 4-year term. We're working through our manifesto, Jeremy.
Why don't you say,
yes,
we're
working through our manifesto?
No, not yes, we're working through our manifesto. Yes, we are going to keep all the promises we made.
Because we're a minority government who...
so you might not.
Well, we get defeated in... Well, I'll give you an example. One of the issues we got defeated on early in our position as a minority government was whether there should be trams in Edinburgh. Now, we can't control a parliament which we have a minority position, but we have won 3/4 of the votes in that parliament.
If you win this by-election, what happens?
Well, I think what will happen is Glasgow East will be in the map and there'll be a dramatic change in policy. I think the policy will be on fuel prices and energy costs because I believe that Gordon Brown would rather save his own job and change policy than not change policy. So I think the people of Glasgow East have an enormous opportunity to dramatically change the politics of this country, the political earthquake that I was speaking about earlier today, Jeremy.
Alex Salmond, David Cairns.